Okay, let me set it up again real quick. Anime that nobody talks about or that are underrated. I have mine. Mine is Zatch Bell, but what are yours?
Let me just add this little tidbit here. Have you guys heard of Genshiken?
No.
Have you heard of Silver Spoon?
No.
Have you heard of Kobato?
No.
Have you heard of Kumamiko?
No. What? No.
Have you heard of Shuffle?
No.
So, like, these are anime.
Right.
Underrated. No one talks about them. It's hidden gems that, I asked someone if they've seen them. They haven't. And not necessarily, like you were saying, underrated. Just no one knows about them because it's such a saturation of mainstream and also just shows coming out here every season.
Right.
And some fly under the radar and are hidden gems that no one really either talks about or watch, or maybe in Japan it's a bigger thing than here because of the like I said, the what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Like presence.
Yeah. Well, I think that has a lot to do with it. Like the way it's distributed out here and advertised out here, and if it's translated, if it gets a dub out here or things like that. But yeah, I don't think I've ever. I mean, I could see pictures and screenshots or posters of these anime and think to myself, oh yeah, I've seen that. But just from you naming them, I haven't heard of these at all. How did you find out about them? Just through.
I mean, like, obviously, when you're like starting to watch anime, you think of like the big top ones like Naruto, Bleach, other what's the other one? One Piece. Like people talk about them, so obviously you want to know what's up, and people say this is where you should start. This is good ones. Like, of course, you want to kind of follow the trail here and work your way up to maybe branching out. And I think that's what I did, where I realized I didn't really necessarily enjoy Naruto as much as I thought I would, and either not enjoy Bleach or not even watch it, and just things that like people were talking about. I just found myself being like, okay, I don't really know if I like these. Yeah. And then I just started looking up genres is a great way to do that too. Like, oh, I like romance and slice of life in school, so I'm gonna look those genre up and see what comes up. And it's not necessarily the ones that everyone's talking about. There's so many anime that you could find that are in those genres and subgenres and all this other stuff, and they're just, I mean, it's like you don't really know of them because no one's really talking about them to you, because I don't really like in middle school, like that's when I started watching anime more and more, and I didn't really have anyone to talk to about it because they didn't know what the fuck I was talking about.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I feel like a lot of times when when kids are like fans of music, right? They have an older sibling that's told them what bands are cool to listen to. Yeah. But I feel like with anime and a manga especially, there's no one to tell you what's cool because it's probably very unlikely that you have a sibling that enjoys it. And if you don't, then it's even more unlikely that you have a group of friends at school that all like it as well. I mean,
that is true. In sibling relationships, there's one who's, they're the one that's into anime.
Well,
which is weird because me and Megan have.
You encourage that though. You cultivated that.
No, I definitely embedded that.
Same. But I agree with you, Cody, that I do feel like that tends to be the case. But I think me and Megan are just the exception, maybe. I don't know, because we both have siblings that are really into anime. But I can say for sure that it's because I was like shoving it down all of my siblings' throats really when we were kids.
And only one of them's into it.
Yeah, I mean the other ones are like they'll like tolerate it and they'll like watch it, but that like follow it and have their own shows, because like a lot of it too is like shows that I've sold them on, right? So they'll watch things that like I've highly recommended, but then one of my brother, one of my siblings, will go out of his way to like find his own series and find things that he watches that I don't watch. Yeah, and so I think that's cool.
It's all about taste. It like comes down to taste and also exposure in what you're seeing in mainstream anime. Not necessarily meaning that mainstream anime is bad, because it's not. You start off by seeing what other people are watching, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna watch the good ones. And just like Hunter, people were telling me to watch it for years, and I just didn't. I just refused because of the hype, or whatever the reason may be. And then I was just like, fuck, this is actually really, really good, and it's completely valid for the hype it gets. So you can't really disregard the hype,
We'll save Cody's opinion for the end of the episode.
But it is like that, underrated, overrated. Just it depends on your taste, and what you really think, that it's not underrated. It's just no one is really talking about it. And I'm sure that you can find like Reddits or, pages or forums that are talking about it and have their thoughts on it. But if you're not face to face with someone, it's kind of hard to think that it's like getting the shine that it deserves.
Yeah, I think for me too. So the series again is called Gash Bell, disgusting name, or Zatch Bell in English. Totally get the rebrand, the changing of the name. But I think it's because it was at a time where obviously social media didn't exist, all that didn't exist, and I remember even at the time, I don't know if either of you are familiar with it, but the GameCube used to have this disc that you would have to buy. It was a separate disc because some of these anime games weren't being translated into English. So there was and for whatever reason, Japanese GameCube discs wouldn't read in American GameCube consoles. So you used to have to get this special disc that you put in, and it would, I guess, reformat your GameCube, and then you could put Japanese games into it and play. So
interesting.
Yeah, so we did that. Like that's how we played a lot of these games and stuff. So I think it's also that it just wasn't really here as much. And I think that like Animal Land that we reviewed, which is his follow-up series that did really well, it was also a kids anime or manga too. And I think that it just it was a series that spanned over years, and I think that people grew out of it and stopped caring about it. And it also had this weird rap where it got translated up until like I'm like kind of like ballparking these numbers, but let's say there's 20 volumes in the complete series, like only 16 got translated into English of the American. The anime didn't get a complete adaptation for the manga series, and the dub didn't even finish dubbing the
main series
that had already come out in Japan.
Oh.
It was this weird thing where the mangaka like injured his hand, had to take a hiatus, and then came back like 3 months later, and they canceled the anime. They stopped translating the manga, and it was this huge thing. But there were video games of it everywhere. There were card games of it everywhere. I mean, it was on not Toonami, but something like that. So it was on Cartoon Network, I think, for a while.
Like Adult Swim?
But it was a kids anime, so I don't think it was necessarily on Adult Swim. But yeah, and so it's just strange because I, talk to people now that love anime and have seen anime that I've never seen or heard of, like the ones you just named. But Zatch Bell tends to always be one that nobody ever is aware of.
It's like erased. It was just erased.
Yeah, it's weird.
That is a little weird. It's like this filter, though. It's like literally they produce so many anime a year. Obviously, some are going to fall through the cracks, and not in a bad way. It's just, I mean, I kind of like that, like, watching what I watch, what everyone else is watching, and then kind of researching on my own and finding things that I like that necessarily aren't in, top rated on anime lists, like things that are kind of low key, and like the anime that the manga that I reviewed. And Yet the Town Moves, like I had no idea that was an anime, and like it's amazing. So I like finding hidden gems from time to time. It's very fun, and that's a part of the reason why I like anime so much, is that you get to branch out, find what you like, find out what you don't like, and it's not necessarily that like, oh, you have to like this. It's like, no, it's for everyone.
Yeah. I want to hear about some more specific titles that you have, but before that, Cody.
Okay, because I don't really know obscure animes. I do like. We had an episode devoted to My Hero Vigilantes, which is because the issues come out like at the same time. Like I think Vigilantes is like once a month, and My Hero is every week, which is impressive. But I get to see like this huge contrast in the quality of the issues, and especially now if you're like caught up or catching up at all to the main story, it's getting like
you sent us a message the other day saying just like the latest chapter got you.
I actually started crying.
Really?
It's like really there's like this.
Oh my god!
There's a really like heartfelt moment happening, and you're like, it's like really like sad, and then you're just seeing this stuff and like where all these characters are ending up and like what they want and what they want to do. Like it starts touching on that, and the issue now is like, in the beginning things were going pretty smoothly for them, but things are starting to fall apart, and it's getting like But then the characters are like all progressing, and the way the main character progresses his powers, like every couple of issues, he'll find like a new way of doing things, or here I can do this, and like it would ruin the surprise of like you're reading to see how creative he starts getting with it. And then you read My Hero, and he just punches harder. And there's no like in the main My Hero one, there's no like emotional investment that like Midoriya has with like, oh, he has a crush on Ochaka.
Uraraka.
I think
Ochako.
they both have like a kind of crush on each other, and like the farthest that has gotten is she got him like a keychain.
Yeah.
And you're like, he doesn't think about her. He's not worried about her. He doesn't think about the world around him. He doesn't think like, what am I going to do on my days off? What am I going to do this? Where am I going to be in my life in these years? Where's it going? You don't get any of that he wants to be the main hero.
He does want to be the main hero, but he does have some emotional ties to All Might in his situation right now in the anime that I'm watching where, the fortune that was told upon him was kind of fucked up, and Midoriya's like, is this true?
You started watching season 4?
Yeah, I'm caught up. I finished it.
Yeah.
Because eventually, spoiler for the manga, it really stops coming up. Like All Might stops coming up as far as like how important he is. Like even emotionally, he just stops mattering at a certain point.
Oh my god, he's like,
and like
honestly,
none of these characters really like they're not real in My Hero. In Vigilantes, they're these real people.
Why do you, other than it being a spinoff though, why do you think that it's underrated? Why do you think that people aren't paying as much attention to that? Because I really do think there's some truth into just how much money companies are willing to put into the marketing of it and the advertising of it. And obviously it not having an anime adaptation probably matters a lot too, but like, I don't know, what else do you think
It's got to be because, I mean, one, the story is like more mature, so it can't be like a traditional like shonen thing of here's my rival, we don't like each other, but we kind of do. And like there's like it's like got like real issues. So I could see people being like, well, we don't know if children will like this. We don't know if this, maybe we could cut this out. I don't know if kids will like a story about him being worried about getting a job. And you're like, but that was the whole appeal of Spider-Man. And people didn't do Spider-Man type stories until Spider-Man happened. Now everyone acts like Spider-Man's the standard hero. And the whole point is he was a deconstruction of heroes.
Wow.
I think it's just the people in charge is like, I don't think people will like it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you're absolutely right, though. It does seem like it's a more mature story, but that's what makes me relate to it more. That's what makes it hit harder, is because it's real. And it's as real as that story can get.
I think maybe it's just adults can appreciate it more.
Maybe.
It might be a legitimate issue of like, well, this is supposed to be for kids. It's like, it doesn't have to be. First of all, who has more money? Me? Or some punk kid.
And also, who do they think, like, in my mind, like, I don't know, when you're a kid, maybe I'm just speaking out of my ass here, but when you're a kid, you're not watching, maybe you're watching My Hero, but I don't know, I was watching like Pokemon and Digimon. I wasn't watching anime of like substance, like, not to say that like Pokemon and Digimon aren't good, but it was until I got older that I started to appreciate all these other series. So like, who do they think is reading Vigilantes in the first place? Do they think like 12-year-olds are reading it? Because I think that 22 to 30-year-olds are reading it, if not older.
I'm warning that a lot of people in these very powerful positions don't know what they're doing. They just had a dad who was like in that position already, and he got the job because he knew the owner. And now you just have like, it's a lot of situations have people that are making all these decisions. They don't know what they're doing, right? And they're like, yeah, I don't think people like this. And like, they're basing it on nothing, but.
I mean, the manga was my Hero manga was pretty big, and then obviously it got the anime adaptation, fucking just blew up, and especially in the States, like ever since My Hero came out, and even Attack on Titan, like I've seen a huge pulse of anime in the States, like way more than when I was in middle school, or because of Hot Topic, places that are selling merchandise, people that are like, what's that? Curious people, like it's just really like the fan base is really in the States from those two having dubs, having like literally the selling of it, just the saturation of just having all this shit out.
But to that point, I do think that if you're comparing the main My Hero story and Attack on Titan, I think Attack on Titan is far superior to My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
But I will even argue that My Hero is way more. The market is way more oversaturated. And Attack on Titan, it's hard to find Attack on Titan merch or figures or compared to My Hero.
Compared to My Hero now. 4 years ago, Attack on Titan was fucking everywhere. Yeah. And you could go to Hot Topic and get a fucking key.
You're right.
Like,
the jacket they sold is like, hey, look, if you like that looks like a cool jacket.
Yeah. And I mean, from literally 4 years ago to now, it's just like completely changed, I feel. And like Hot Topics, half of their section is like anime now. And it is, you know, how much mainstream content is put out there and having overrated anime, quote unquote, that everyone talks about, but it's not necessarily overrated. It's just so prevalent in the anime community.
It's just like oversaturated, I think. I just keep using that word because
I think the reason is they're not going to give it like an animation. First of all, I guess they'd be like, well, we need an animation studio and they're already doing My Hero. Right. But I think the real reason is they're worried that if they do an anime of Vigilantes, no one's going to care about the main one anymore.
And all the money that they've dumped into My Hero will just be...
but I guess everyone's like, wow, Midoriya sucks if you compare him to someone who like actually is a full character.
I feel like they would only benefit them.
Yeah,
honestly.
I kind of think that. As I was saying it, I was
building the world like Vigilantes. Like really look, you can see both sides of that. You know, the hero type having the quirks, and I think that they would benefit huge if they ended up doing anime adaptation, which I don't doubt they will.
Yeah, I don't doubt they will either.
The main one would benefit from Vigilantes doing all of the legwork for writing a story in the world. And then Vigilantes would benefit because people would be like, oh, My Hero. So I want to be clear. Vigilantes benefits just from the name. My Hero, it would be like we're doing all the writing for it. And then you'd watch that for like a fight scene where, oh, he's fighting a guy who can also punch hard. I wonder if how is he going to, he punches harder than the harder puncher. That is amazing. I'm so glad in this world where like, everyone could have all these crazy superpowers. We just get to see people who punch hard. That's amazing, dude. I love it.
But I love My Hero. I don't want to discourage, like, I do genuinely love it.
I'm so disappointed with what it's become.
We're all in three different places with it. He's caught up in the Japanese manga. I'm caught up in the American manga, and you're caught up in the anime. So we're all at three different points in the story. And I am maybe like slowly leaning towards Cody's side because my brother just watched My Hero all the way through. And, as he's telling me, he's expressing to me his like frustrations with it. And as he's telling me, I, can't help but think like, oh, fuck, you're right. That arc did last like a long time. Oh, fuck. Like, yeah, they do. Like, they are fighting again, in this arc. They are taking another test. And so it did lose a little bit of its like, I don't know, appeal.
I mean, I think that it's getting to the point where I don't know if it's caught up. Like obviously the manga is not caught up with the anime.
No.
Correct. Yeah, it's like goes way past it. Yeah, so I just feel like right now with the anime it just seems so like repetitive, and like the first season was awesome. I really loved it. Second season I was like cool. And then it just like gradually just got like I don't know. It was very repetitive. Yeah. Like it's a cool story and the characters are cool and seeing them grow is cool, but they don't really like I mean Deku's kind of just the same node and
he doesn't even start. I think the most is he starts being like, "Hey, Bakugo, stop telling me to kill myself." And Bakugo goes like, "No," and he goes, "Okay, sir, that's fine, sir. That's whatever you want, sir."
I find myself like gravitating to the other characters more than I do Deku now, Absolutely. And he's the main character, and like that's kind of telling.
Are so interesting,
yeah.
And I was like, that's why like Sue, she got like her own episode in the anime, which isn't in the manga. Because they're like, people want to see more of her. And it's like, I want to just see everyone else in this world besides Deku.
Or Bakugo.
And that's the cool thing about Vigilantes is that every character is interesting.
Yeah, I don't have like a... There isn't an arc in the stories where I've been like, yeah, that one was kind of dumb. Like, every story aspect of it I like.
Well, I will say this about the series that I think is underrated or not talked about. I don't think it's necessarily like a brilliant anime. I am aware that there's a lot of nostalgia in it, and that if I rewatch the entire series now, I would probably having seen the amount of anime I've seen since I was 12 or 10 or whatever. I do think I would have a lot of problems with it. But at the time, being a kid, who is what that anime was directed towards, the audience it was directed towards at the time, I really connected with it on like a very emotional level. And
with My Hero?
No, with this Zatch Bell show, not with My Hero. Okay. But yeah, Zatch Bell is, to go back to that real quick, is also like hard to find. It's hard to find any DVDs. It's hard to find, like, you can't buy the mangas anymore unless you buy them on eBay for like a shitload of money. Gem made some figures of the characters, but they're super expensive. They're like $300 now. It sucks because the DVDs are so old too that they're formatted for like square TVs. So you just have those two black bars on the sides.
Well, when did it come out?
I don't know. I could look it up.
Because I mean, it's old. It's obviously like it's obviously old.
What does that have to do?
I'm just saying. Like,
well, you said you were 12,
as a kid, so what year was that? Like
1974.
I was thinking more like 80.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I was born in 1989. I'll have you guys know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
Let's see.
But
like
I think that has a lot to do with like release dates, like, you know, anime during that time. Like, you don't see that shit come up anymore necessarily unless it's like a classic, you know?
Well, it said it came. Oh, it was Toonami, I guess. That it premiered on Cartoon Network's Toonami. The English version premiered in March of 2005.
Oh, that was like prime time.
So
that was like prime time, man. 2004 to like 2007, 2008. It's like that shit's good.
So I mean, I was definitely in high school. I was like a freshman in high school.
Is Fooly Cooley underrated?
No.
Okay, I'm trying to think of obscure anime.
No,
Fooly Cooley I think is overrated sometimes.
Overrated.
It's great. I remember watching it though, and I watched it when I was in high school, maybe a freshman, and thinking like, I didn't get it.
It's like that's the whole thing. Like there's a lot of nuances.
We promised this a while ago, and we're going to continue to promise. Eventually, we'll give like a 5-hour dissertation.
Oh yeah.
Josh, did you get the same type of shoes that I got?
I can't see.
No, his are
mine are probably
Adidas,
cooler. I can't see.
And yours are Skechers.
Yeah, but it's the same shoe. And all
Pretty
that
much. Skechers has some cool.
And all that
cool
means
shoes.
is you paid like 4 times extra. That's all. That's all the Adidas means. It means for ID'd pay extra.
Well, yours probably have holes in them, and mine
for
don't.
ventilation. Yes.
Yeah, holes that you've fucking ripped in them.
Absolutely not. Ours are almost the exact same pattern.
They look pretty similar.
I can't see, but mine probably look cooler.
I can't see, and I don't want to see.
And I don't want to really look because it's gonna just make me mad.
No, yours got you have to use laces. I don't.
Yeah, well, I also think this might be some weird trick for me to look, and then your fucking socks and shoes are off again.
That'd be funny, and eventually I will do something like that.
Oh Jesus!
But you have to wait for me to forget. Megan, what were some of the other ones that you wanted to talk about that were not talked about or just severely underrated?
I wouldn't say like severely, but Clannad is like it's one of my it is my favorite anime like ever. Like I remember watching it and I was like 8th grade, 7th grade, and I just like took to it. Like it was like one of the animes that I watched like fuck, like this is gonna be a problem. Like this is my shit. Like it just awakened my weeb energy, and yeah. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But I just feel like it is such a classic school romance. It has everything you want in an anime, and like it's beautiful. The soundtrack is amazing, and I just feel like people don't talk about it enough. Like I talk to people, and sure, maybe they've watched it or they dislike it for some reason. I just can't wrap my head around like how this is not like everywhere. Like how this is not the staple for school romance anime. It's just like insane to me, and the second season just completes it all, and it's just such near and dear to my heart that it's not only nostalgia, but it's just this is like a masterpiece. Like
I know how you feel about it because you've talked about it before. And so because you feel so strongly about it, I watched the first episode.
Oh.
Yeah. And
you hate it.
I didn't look.
Oh no. Oh wow, after that whole speech.
I really truly honestly, because I was trying to figure out why it just wasn't hitting me. Mm-hmm. And honestly, the story was great. I watched the dub, which you I think recommended,
yeah.
right? And it was fine. It was the characters, the way they look, their eyes are like.
It's the style. It literally like they I don't know if it's like the mangaka or the animator, like they all look like, there's another one called Canon that looks very similar to Clannad, and it also has the type of like supernatural romance type of story, and they all look like that. I guess it is. If you don't like it, if it's not your cup of tea, then fine. But
it's so ugly.
It's not ugly.
Like the story is probably beautiful, but the characters look hideous to me. And like,
it happens. I mean,
and it's crazy because I understand that they're supposed to be very cute and it's supposed to be a cute story, but like I'm sure Cody can attest to this. Maybe he can, I don't know. But if there was like a comic book series that just had, or a manga series, I guess, but I know that you read a lot more comics, had like a dope, you know how I feel like mangas don't do this, but and comics do. They have really dope art on the cover.
Oh, and then you open it and it's just not at all that. Yeah.
Can you continue to read it? Like, can you continue to enjoy it?
Yeah, I'm not going to be happy about it. But like, guest drawn. You got me. You suckered me. Because it's like, I mean, half of a comic or a manga is the art.
It's like the first 2 volumes of The Walking Dead. Like, it's beautiful, and they didn't rush it, and you see the guts, and it's fucking amazing. And then they just flew off the wagon. You don't know what the fuck's happening. It's black, white, who's who. Like, because they were rushing it. They didn't want to waste their time. They wanted to spew that shit out immediately. Yeah. But like, it's just it is like the ultimate anime-looking anime, because their eyes are like super big. You would hate it. You would not like it. They do look very anime like.
But it just looks so bad. And I saw, like, I think the only reason I brought that comic book thing up is because I feel like I saw promotional images or I saw something and I was like, this looks very cool. This looks like I could really get into this, you know? I was thinking maybe it was going to be similar to like Fruits Basket in a way.
Well, you never watched like the original.
Well, I've
Fruits
seen
Basket.
the manga, the original manga.
No, not the manga, but like even the anime is really rough, and it's great. Though.
Seen like screenshots of it, and then even it did. Yeah, I mean, it did kind of give me some like original Fruits Basket manga or anime / manga vibes. You know? But it was worse, and it was just and that's why I love Fruits Basket. The way they reanimated it is perfect.
Yeah, but those people, they'll never know. They'll never know and
they nobody should ever know.
It's so good. It's the meat. I mean, it's the OG. Like it's just so nostalgic. And Clannad, I think they did reanimate it. I think there was one in like 2006 or something that was, looked like that, and there was like a movie I think too that looked like worse than I guess the reanimation. But Josh, I'm urging you to just like please look past it, and I know it'd be hard, but once you get sucked in, I'm gonna keep trying, because I know what it feels like to be on your end of it and want to recommend something to someone so bad. Yeah.
And for that person to say like, nah,
I mean, it is what it is, but
no,
I know that you'll like it. That's why.
I trust you, and I trust your opinion. And so I'm going to power through. And Cody, I'm going to have to power through. But I'm going to get there, and I'm going to watch it, because I take my friends' recommendations. I don't take them with a grain of salt.
Neither do I. I mean, hey, I watched 27 episodes of whatever.
Let's get into that right now. Let's just wrap this up by saying, like, check out the anime that we've talked about. Check out Vigilantes for sure.
Read Vigilantes and petition for them to cancel the main series and anime Vigilantes.
And don't get discouraged if you don't necessarily like the super mainstream anime. Not that it's bad. If it's not your cup of tea, look into genres. Look into subgenres. Like, really find your niche. Like, what you like, because that'll really like open up the world of anime and manga.